So after 12 years, I have decided to walk away from bedside nursing and pursue my dreams, and I'm going to tell you why right now. So I gave away my biggest announcement in the thumbnail. I have, after 12 years of doing bedside nursing, walked away. Yesterday was my last day, and that is why I felt it was necessary to wait until today to put this video out. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't have a script. I don't have anything planned, but I thought it would only be kind of right to do it after I was actually done. So 2 weeks ago, I gave my notice, and yesterday was my last day. And I will have some bonus clips for you at the end of this video from me walking in and walking out on that last day. Now, this is kind of a bittersweet decision, and I also have a couple of other announcements that I will get to at the end of the video. But first, I want to tell you my story of being a nurse. I went to nursing school in my late 20s. I have been a nurse for right at 12 years. I went through nursing school with a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old at the time. My kids, those two kids are 20 and 22 right now. I did start over, so I do have my 3-year-old Dalton, who, if you watch my channel, you're familiar with. And having Dalton kind of brought all of this to fruition. So I was burned out on nursing before COVID came along. COVID did not help it. I started out my nursing career in intermediate care, which is kind of between ICU and a medical surgical floor. The patients are sicker. You do see more deaths. It is definitely a more stressful nursing position than a lot of others. But I like that. I like the critical thinking that went along with it. I like the autonomy because we had a little more decision making to do when you're an intermediate care nurse versus being just a regular medical surgical floor nurse. So I started off with that, and it got to the point where I was so stressed I was bringing it home. So if I had a rough day at work, then it was probably going to be a rough day at home that night. And so I made the decision, as hard as it was, to leave the intermediate care, and I went to med surg. I went to the float pool, which for me was one of the best decisions that I made. And I met some amazing people. And if you don't know, in nursing, the float pool goes wherever they're short that day. And I knew people all over the hospital because I did the float pool for 8 years, and I absolutely loved it. I loved central staffing. I loved all of my coworkers, even though we didn't get to see each other much. And then as a kind of the nursing shortage started ramping up before COVID, it got more stressful. So come along into 2018, and I had Dalton, who is back there sitting, but I'm blocking him. You can't see him. Oh, he says hello. Say hello.
Hi.
So I had Dalton in 2018, and he was in NICU. We did lose 3 babies before him. So overall, really, really stressful. And once I had him, I did go back to work at about 8 weeks, but I only went back 1 day a week. I had to kind of bring myself back into not being home with him. And it was very, very stressful. And I did breastfeed him. And I'm saying that because this has a lot of importance of kind of the turn of all the events that led me to where I am now. So a lot of times with the float pool, we would end up in the emergency room. We worked in the emergency room. And the emergency room is very hectic, very short-staffed, and I had a very hard time being able to pump. And they would not make sure that I had coverage to be able to go pump. I actually had to fight for the legal right to be able to go pump milk for my baby. and my milk supply kind of dwindled. And at that point, I wanted to walk out. I was like this close a couple of days. And I had not started my reselling business. So if you're a regular viewer, you know that I resell items. I buy them at estate sales, garage sales, Goodwill, thrift stores, and I flip them on eBay, Poshmark, Facebook. So I had not started that. So at that point when I wanted to walk out, and I mean, I was very close to literally walking out the door, because I should not have to fight to be able to feed my baby if that's what I was choosing to do. And with him having been in NICU and had such a hard struggle, I felt that was something very important to me to do for him. And to have to fight to get somebody to cover me so that I could go do that, it just kind of made me really, really done at that point. Up until that point, I worked 48 hours a week for 8 years. I loved going to work. I loved helping. And then at that point, I'm like, I don't want to be here. So that's when I came up with the idea. And I've done this off and on for 20 years. I have resold. So I do have a history with it. But I started seeing pallets and like Facebook groups and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is this pallets? Like, oh, like mystery things, right? So super exciting. So we started getting pallets, and we would drive 2 hours to Jacksonville, pick up pallets, and we were doing very well. We were making money with pallets, but it got to the point where with pallets, most times about half of it is junk. And then we had all this stuff that we didn't know what to do with. It would take a lot of time. If it was like home goods, we were getting some Lowe's and Home Depot pallets, and parts would be missing, and it would take a ton of time, and then we'd sell them and have angry buyers because this little tiny part was missing. So at that point, I started going to thrift stores and picking up stuff from estate sales. And my whole goal throughout this was I want to be home more. At that point, I did not have a goal of leaving nursing. Dalton was about 1 when I started doing that. He is 3.5 now. And so I decided, okay, I am going to push as hard as I can so I don't have to work 4 days a week. So I pushed and was making a couple thousand a month. And that allowed me to go back to my 3 12-hour shifts, which was nice. And then I wanted to be home more. So I was pushing hard. And at some point before COVID in 2019, I wasn't wanting to go to work. I didn't want to go to work. And it was really, really hard when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you don't need to wake up until 5, but you're waking up thinking, I can call out. I still have time to call out. At the facility I worked at, we had to call out by 5 a.m. and like my body woke itself up at 4, like, hey, you can call out. You don't need to go to work. And obviously that is not healthy. And so in October of last year, and I will tell you, throughout COVID, being in the float pool, probably 75% of my time was spent with COVID patients. I spent over a year taking care of COVID patients, and it was hard going through that because I didn't want to bring it home. So I would strip and in the laundry room, run through the house, hop in the shower, not let Dalton come to me, which really upset him. So that aspect of it was hard. And then the staffing shortage, we started COVID out with 1-to-1. So if you had a COVID patient, it was just you and the COVID patient. You didn't have to go in there very often. You would go in, do what you needed to do, come out, and then go back in. You know, maybe like 3 or 4 times a shift just to lessen your exposure. And this was at the very beginning of it. And then it turned into 2-to-1, 2 COVID patients, 1 nurse. And then it went to 3. And then it went to 4. And now I believe it is at 5 and sometimes 6 COVID patients to 1 nurse. And even if you're not a nurse, I'm sure you can imagine how stressful that is. And a lot of times you don't have a tech to take your vital signs and help you clean a patient up and do other tasks such as bringing them their lunch, or if they can't feed themselves, feeding them their lunch. So just a ton of stress. And at that point I'm like, okay, I need to come less. I went part-time in July of 2021, last year. So less than a year ago, I went part-time. And it continued. Me waking up, me being stressed out, me not wanting to go to work. And I'm like, gotta change, gotta change. So I switched my position to a regular floor, like a medical surgical floor, with like kind of an emphasis on psychiatric care. Though most of the time the patients were not psychiatric patients. It was there for that purpose if they needed it. So one of the reasons I was float pool, and I think if you watch me, you know my personality. I will tell you guys, I do not like drama. I do not like bullshit, and excuse me for cussing. I don't think I've ever cussed on one of my videos, but I don't like it. I just don't deal well with it. That's why I did so well in the float pool, because I would be in a different place every day. I didn't have to deal with like the same people and the drama and the we're in high school, you know. It's pretty sad that a profession, and I haven't really been in other professional type situations, but I feel like probably every workplace is like that and has like the drama and the feeling like you're in high school and people don't like people, and just I don't like that. I don't like it at all. And so that is why I was staffing, because I wanted to avoid that. I worked for the float pool. I didn't work for the floors I went to. I didn't have to get involved in the drama and the BS that was part of that floor. I would sit away from everybody. I would do my job. I would take care of my patients, and I would go home. And the float pool was a very, very good fit for me, and I absolutely love that. So the problem came where with the float pool goes where you're short, which meant we were always going to the ER, which was extremely stressful. As I said, when I was pumping, I'm obviously not pumping anymore, but no lunch, you know, 12 and a half, 13-hour days, no lunch, not a ton of support. And again, waking up, not wanting to go to work, calling out way more than I was allowed to, because I didn't want to be there. I did not want to be at work. So while all of this is happening, I am busting my butt to be at home. And by that, I mean every free minute. I was listing stuff on eBay. I was sourcing. I was shipping. I was just building that up and up and up, while I didn't need to pull that much of the income. And at this point, I have built it up to about $130,000 to $140,000 in inventory from only a few $100s. So if you're just starting, it is definitely possible. What? So in October last year of 2021, I decided I would switch to that unit. And the reason for that is I wasn't wanting to go to the ER, which is where I was getting sent a lot. I wasn't wanting to go to the COVID floors over and over and have to strip and run through the house and worry if I was going to bring that home to my family. And I switched. I took a pay cut. I lost $4 per hour by switching to this psych unit. And it was a smaller unit, and I absolutely love the manager. That is one of the reasons I chose to go there. But as time went on, there was drama, there was BS, and kind of caught in the middle of like people not liking assignments, people saying other people weren't doing their job. Just that's the gist of it. And I was gonna kind of get more into the story, and I don't think that I'm going to, because it doesn't really add any substance to what I'm actually trying to get across to you. But I will just tell you there was a lot of drama and a lot of BS, and came to the point where I was in the middle of it. I got written up because last month in January, I was sick. I did not have COVID. I tested negative for COVID repeated times, but I got sick. I went back to work. I was exposed to COVID, a patient that was unknown to be COVID. And I made the choice to stay home until I knew I was negative so I didn't expose my coworkers or my patients to COVID. Well, that calling out got me over the allowed amount. So the hospital doesn't care why you call out. They do not care. Even if it was a COVID exposure, they wanted me to come to work. And it has gotten to the point where unless you're like overly sick, and I mean overly, they want you to come to work. It is that short at the hospital. And so I got written up, and I was frustrated, and there was some other stuff said. And again, I am choosing to not tell this story. But basically, the day I got written up for calling out too much being sick, I felt like I had to make a decision. Either I had to change positions. I did not want to go to that unit anymore. And I love the people there. I love them. But it was just not a comfortable environment for me anymore after that day. So that was a Thursday. And on Friday, I made a phone call to Blue Cross Blue Shield in Florida. And luckily, one of my friends told me that her friend, who was an ARNP, where she was working didn't provide insurance. She just called Blue Cross Blue Shield straight away and was able to get her insurance, which is what I did. And my insurance is actually cheaper than it was at the hospital, and it costs less. Well, it costs less, and it's better coverage. I have a no deductible plan for myself, my husband, my 20-year-old, as well as Dalton. And I have medical, dental, accident insurance, and catastrophic. So if something horrible happens to one of us, we will get compensated. So $368 a month is all it is. I was having more than that taken out of my paycheck for my insurance at work. So better coverage, I'm paying less, and insurance was my main concern that stopped me from walking away from nursing for over a year. And so I called Friday, set it all up, made sure I had insurance, and the next day I worked, I handed in my 2 weeks notice. And everybody there kind of knows that I do YouTube, that I do reselling, and it's my passion. Like it's pretty much all I talk about. And I think that was a little bit of a detriment, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't regret talking about YouTube and talking about teaching and helping people increase their income by teaching them to resell. I do not regret that at all. What I do regret is waiting so long to do this, and it's kind of funny, and I'm going to throw him out there, and I'm going to tell him to watch this video because I haven't seen him in my chats very much, but Joey Bada Bing 22 quit his job last year, and I was like, Joey, you're not ready. You have to have all this stuff in line. Like you need to be ready to do this. And I want to say I'm sorry to Joey. I should have supported you as my friend and told you go for it. And that, why am I gonna cry now? Why? I didn't put mascara on because I knew I might cry. I should have supported Joey. And instead, I'm like, no, you have a good job. You need to wait. But if your dream is to resell or do whatever you want, do it. Figure it out later. If you have the faith and believe that you can do it, you can. Am I scared about this? Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But I want to be home with him. I want to be home with him. He starts school in August, which is crazy how time flies. And I don't have the financial situation that I thought I would have, but that's okay. That's okay. Because I have the faith that I can make it, and I know that I can make it, and I will. I will. So I have my insurance set up. I am not going back to nursing ever. I will make this work. So if you're a nurse in a situation that's like crappy, go find something else, whether it's nursing or not. Don't go to a job that you hate. Until this point, if I didn't like a job and I was miserable, I just walked out. But this was a little different because nurses make good money, and I had to have some sort of plan in place. So I do have a plan. I have built my inventory up, and so inventory is built up, and I have had a pretty steady income from reselling for about 2 years. We average $10,000 a month. We've had a couple of $20,000 months here recently, and I am comfortable with where I'm at. It's not where I wanted to be when I walked out, mind you, but it came to the point where I needed to make a decision. And my passion in life, and your passion can change, it can change. I loved nursing, I loved it, but my passion is teaching you and helping you to increase your income and get better sales and just be happy, guys. I want people to be happy. I want you to do what you're happy doing, what you're happy doing. And for me, I love the hunt. I love finding stuff. I love reselling stuff, and I love teaching. So now that's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do. And I have faith that it will work, and I have faith that I will prosper and that I will do better than I was doing in nursing. I still have $80,000 in student loans, and that's okay. I will pay them off. I will pay them off. And yeah, so that was my big announcement number one. I got lucky. My battery died, so I got to like recompose myself there for a few minutes while I charged it. So that is announcement number one. Announcement number two is my 20-year-old daughter, who is in college for nursing, ironically, was miserable at her job as well. And I told her, just quit. Just quit. Come work for me. And she's still on my insurance because she's a full-time student. And so that is not a consideration for her. And she put in her 2-week notice a week ago. So she has spring break next week. I'm going to train her. She's going to list for me. Not sure what else she will do. She does have college full-time, but she is very, very much like me. She's very motivated. She is a workaholic like me. And I think she will be a great addition to my business. And I already have my mom and my niece working for me, and my good friend Charlene. So we are growing, and I think at some point you have to get employees in order to really grow your business. And that is what we are doing. We are going full speed ahead with the faith and the belief that it will work. So my daughter will be coming to work for me. That is announcement number two. I don't know whether she'll be in videos. I might be able to convince her, but I'm not totally sure. So no more nursing. My daughter's coming to work for me. And well, first of all, I was going to say the Orlando camp was sold out, but somebody had a change of plans, and we do have one top bunk left for only $600, which includes classes and accommodations in the second house in Orlando. So if you're interested, there is one room that reopened. We were sold out. So the third announcement is that I have booked a 16-bedroom cabin on top of the mountain in Sevierville, Tennessee. So Nurse Flipper Camp number 2 is now scheduled. You can go to the nurseflipper.bigcartel.com and see the rooms available for that one. gorgeous house. Indoor pool, pool table, beautiful wraparound porch in the mountains near Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Super excited about that. That will be May 15th to 18th. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Thank you for your support. Without the support of YouTube, I had to switch to my phone. The battery kept dying. I had to switch to the phone. So without the support of my YouTube family, aka you, I would not have been able to make this decision. I would not have been able to make it. So thank you so much for your support. Stay tuned for the bonus clips of me walking in and walking out for the last time. And know that I appreciate you. I will see my members tomorrow night, Saturday night. We are having a live sourcing night where I look for items for you on high bid. And yeah, we will find some great stuff. And so I will see my members tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live sourcing. And as for the rest of you, Monday will be a what sold video, and you'll see some more of my thrifting in Birmingham coming up. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support. I will see my members tomorrow at 8 p.m. and the rest of you I will see Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, I am walking out of my house to go to work for someone else for the last time ever. I will check back in when I'm walking out. All right, guys, here we go. I am walking in for the last time ever. Will be the last time I work for someone else. I'm gonna work for myself. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna teach you, and I'm gonna be home with my family more. So we're gonna go in. I'll do one more clip when I'm walking out. I kind of want to cry. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of emotional. But we're going in for the last time ever. All right, guys, so I made it. I actually just spent about 15 minutes with an older lady who couldn't find her car in the garage. So I was really happy to help her. I stayed with her until security came and let her sit in my car because she'd been walking around hours looking for her car. And I think I helped them figure out where her car is, and they're gonna drive her to it. So I'm done. I'm saying goodbye, and I'm never going to work for anybody but myself ever again. And I have faith. I have faith that I can do this. And if you have watched this long, because I plan on putting this clip at the very end, thank you. And your support is a lot of what made this possible for me. And I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie, but I have faith that I can do this. I will get to be home more. Dalton starts pre-K in August. I can take him to school and pick him up, and I can go to field trips and not have to request a day off. I can take a nap in the middle of the day if I want. So I'm happy to be able to do what I love, which is teach you and help you better your life by sharing my experiences. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching this long. To all of my friends that I've worked with for 12 years here at the hospital, it has been an amazing time, but it's time to move on. It's time to move on and do my own thing. It is emotional. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Might have cried in the video before, which I'm making tomorrow. So you're gonna see them kind of in reverse order, but I wanted to do this while it was happening. And yeah, here we go, guys. Here we go. We are taking a massive leap of faith that I can make this happen. So thank you all. And I will see my members tomorrow on a member sourcing live Saturday. If you haven't checked out the memberships, hit the join button below every video on the computer. And I will see my members tomorrow night. Bye, guys.